Diddy Kong and his new bisected eyes aren't the only thing with the new render here, as almost the entire Mario gang has now been refreshed and looking more dapper than ever, I must say. Look at this fine looking bunch, aren't they looking great? In any case, like we did with Diddy Kong yesterday, I thought it'd be fun to go through and point out some of the changes and differences I noticed that you may not have about these new renders, because there are some things worth talking about, not just individually, but even as a group as well. So to do so, let's go and swap over to my canvas here, where we can get a better look at both the new render as well as the old renders right there that were used for the past several years on the official characters page for the Mario cast, which the new renders have now replaced. So again, there's a new one and the old ones. Old and busted, new hotness. Old and busted, new hotness. I am loving how much better they look now in this new version, and not just because of the enhanced lighting, the better textures, the improved posing, but also for one kind of controversial reason, and that's, I have to say, regardless of how you feel about the DK's new design, that new design looks so good with the rest of the cast. He just fits in so well now, whereas before, he looked extremely awkward with that weird thumbs up and the grin, and he's kind of like awkwardly blocked or hidden behind other characters. Even his tie, you can only see the D on it for some reason because of Toad's big head, whereas now, he is so much better positioned. He's got a more action-like pose, he's got a great organic smile, or a more natural looking smile, and his tie is fully visible. I just think, again, regardless of how you feel about the new design itself, I think we have to agree that it looks overall better with the rest of the gang. And again, that's for multiple reasons too, like the more consistent lighting and posing, textures, and all that. Now, beyond DK though, there has been another big change, or perhaps I should say addition. Did you catch it? Let me go to the old one real quick. There's something missing here compared to the new one. Yeah, that's right, Toadette has been added to the cast, which I know is gonna make a ton of Toadette fans happy, as this is kind of like a good sign. Like, it shows that not only is it a reflection of her increased prominence in the game, but I think shows Nintendo's commitment to her as a character, that they're going to keep using her, both in games and maybe even in the movie. She had a small tease in the first one, so could she possibly appear in the second? I don't know. In any case, it's fun to see her being added, and she complements, you know, Toad being there as well. So now we have two Toads officially in this render, which is great. Next up though is her increased prominence did come at the expense of someone else. Did you notice what I'm talking about? Let's go to the old render and the new one. Rosalina used to essentially be in the front row, or at least among the front line, whereas now she's been pushed to the background thanks to Toadette's new placement. And it makes me wonder if this, even if this isn't an intentional design choice, it does feel a little reflective of how Nintendo's been treating Rosalina as more of a background character rather than a prominent character as she was during the Wii era. And I wonder that's just how Nintendo kind of views her now, where she is just kind of like a more of a spin-off game character rather than a mainline character as she used to be. Maybe we'll see otherwise in the near future, you know, even in the second Mario movie. I just thought that was interesting, even if it's not intentional or not. Beyond that though, we can see that she also has enhanced hair now, where you can better see essentially like individual strands, or at least, you know, grains of hair, if you will. I don't know, clumpings of hair, I guess, whereas before it looked a little bit more plasticky, and that's far from the only hair enhancement here. But there's another big addition here too. She has her wand. She didn't have it before, and now she does. So I don't know what that's about, but it's fun to see her getting one of her trademark items featured prominently in this render. Okay, let's go and move on to a different character here, being Yoshi, because his render actually looks pretty similar. He didn't change a whole lot. It is better lighting and all that. The texture work didn't change a whole lot though, from what I can tell. But look at the sizing here. He is massive now. Before he used to be smaller than Luigi, and now he's towering over him. Now, I wouldn't put too much stock into this, because these are probably literally just PNGs they resized for the group photo. So I don't know if these are like their canonical sizes, but I did think it's interesting, and maybe that's more true to life. I mean, I guess Yoshi being a dinosaur should be bigger, especially with the other two, you know, literally riding him around in game. So yeah, I just thought that was interesting, and it kind of just, I don't know, almost makes him look slightly more menacing than he did before, which I don't think was an intentional thing, but I think it's funny all the same. Imagine Yoshi being some big menace or something. I mean, I guess if you're a Koopa, yeah, he's a menace. He's coming up to eat you. Alright, speaking of sizing changes, another one we have here, it's a little bit more subtle, is Toad. He's actually a bit smaller now. Look, before he came up to the princess's waistline, and now he's clearly below it, which also might help explain why DK's tie is more visible. So yeah, again, I don't know that necessarily means a whole lot, but it does kind of better match with his sizing in Smash Brothers, where he's like an aid to Princess Peach and Daisy. So yeah, read into that way you will. Speaking of Princess Peach and Daisy, look at this. In fact, it applies to all 3 princesses, but look at those 2 in particular. Look at their faces. Let's really zoom in here on this. This is the new one. That's the old one. Look how much happier they are, especially, I mean, even Daisy, she was happy before, but look at her smile, it's even more enhanced. But look at Peach in particular, it almost looked like she's in awe before, or almost like an endearing type of look, whereas now she's straight up happy. She is straight up having a great time. And that also applies to Rosalina as well. Check this out. If you go to the old one, she has a very neutral expression, almost a, you can almost say a resting type face. Whereas her new one, she's actually smiling. It's a modest expression change, but it is definitely there. So I thought that's interesting that they universally made the princesses happier across the board, but they're not the only ones here as well. Because if we take a look at Koopa Troopa here, look at that happy little guy compared to before where he's doing like a DreamWorks pose. What's that about? He's trying to act like Mr. Tough Guy over here, but now he's like, no, I'm just a cute little Koopa. Hey, what's up, guys? So I very much like that as well. All right, now let's get to some more of the texture changes, because Mario and Luigi in particular had huge glow ups. Look at this. These guys essentially looked untextured before with their overall flat overalls. I didn't even mean to say it that way. With only some light texture work in the seam area. But now look at the new one. You can see like overall much better detail. I keep saying that word when it's literally their overalls. Much like in Mario Odyssey, Smash Brothers as well, and even the Mario movie, of course, which is the most detailed model to date. So I am loving how this looks. That applies to both Mario and Luigi. Again, let's take a look at the old model, very flat by comparison. The new one, much more realistic and lively, while still maintaining that cartoony look. I quite like that. But that's not all, because look at their hair. Whether it's a mustache or their sideburns, look at this. You can see like actual kind of strains again now, like with Rosalina. The mustache in particular is even more visible. Again, it's a little bit reflective of Mario Odyssey, which had a similar type of thing. Same thing in the Mario movie, of course, which is hyper detailed. This is not quite at that level, but still, it's a good improvement. It really kind of gives them a nice new shine. I very much like that. But conversely, here's the weird thing about this, is that Wario and Waluigi, they didn't get really similar enhancements. They are looking better, but look, let's look at the old design. Yeah, really not all that different. I mean, the lighting is definitely better. Again, here's the new one. That's the old one. But look at their clothing. There have been no texture enhancements. Whether on their overalls or the shirt. Or yeah, even the shirt actually almost looks less detailed than before. Isn't that interesting? Look at where his t-shirt ends. It actually has a clear like fold or seam there, whereas now it doesn't really, and that applies to Waluigi as well. Whatever upgrades there are have been very modest there, and they almost look kind of plasticky compared to the rest of the gang, and I don't like that. I don't know why they didn't properly update these guys like the others. Maybe they're waiting for a new game for them or a Mario movie appearance. I don't know. In any case, they deserve better. Their mustaches deserve proper hair, and their overalls deserve, actual seams. So hopefully we'll get those enhancements one of these days. Let's see. Another interesting change, which I don't know if I actually quite love as much. I like almost everything they've done here, but look at Boo here. Boo before is brighter, he's got a pink tongue, and now he looks almost a little dirtier, and he's got like a more red tongue, which is fine. I guess that's more in line with the rest of the cast, but I kind of like the more ghostly hue it had before as compared to the new Boo. Honestly, if that Boo were isolated, I would say that's almost an older render compared to the old one, which almost seems more modern to me. I don't know, maybe I'm alone on that. I just thought that was interesting. Now that's beyond that, there's another enemy change here too, because let's go over to good old Goomba here, as his new design actually looks a little bit different too. Look at the old one. His eyes look smaller, if not just smaller, but also less oval too. It almost looks like they compressed them a bit. And also his head shape may have changed a bit too. Again, here's the old one and the new one. It looks like maybe a little squattier, I guess. And yeah, the eyes to me seem to be the most pronounced change. I wonder, can we even see, let's take a look at the eyebrow. Can we see, no, the eyebrows don't have visible hair as far as I can tell. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. I am liking the new Goomba. Goomba, good glow up. Although conversely, Koopa Paratroopa, barely changed. Here's the new one, and the old one. He does look better, again, but it's the exact same pose, almost nothing's changed. No real text or no real enhancements beyond the lighting from what I can tell. And there might be subtle things, but really modest upgrades overall. So those are most of the changes I noticed when it comes to the changes. But there are some interesting omissions, I think, because with the addition of Toadette, it made me wonder, why not add any other characters? Because we are still missing, I would say, 2 fairly prominent ones from this gang. Number 1 being Pauline. Where is Pauline? She's had an increasingly prominent role in the games, and she's still not here. Maybe it's because she really hasn't appeared as a playable character in the mainline game yet. Even her role in Odyssey was, you know, pretty much as a background character. And but you know, then again, she did appear in the Mario movie, and even Rosalina hasn't. So you know, it would be nice to see her being added here, especially with her increasing prominence over the years. Beyond that, though, I think an even bigger omission is, where's Bowser Jr.? We've seen him featured in ads featuring Bowser, or like cute little, you know, informational videos from Nintendo with Bowser. Where is he here? It's just an odd omission. You got a bunch of minions here. 4 minions, we don't have room for freaking Bowser Jr.? Like, I don't think we really need Koopa Paratroopy here, right? Throw Bowser Jr. on Bowser's back or something. I don't know. I think that'd be a really great addition. If not the rest of the Koopalings too, but I'm biased as an old school Mario fan. But yeah, that's pretty much it, everyone. What do you think of this? What do you think of these new renders, these additions, these changes, or lack thereof in the case of Wario and Waluigi, and also those omissions like Bowser Jr. and Pauline? Do you think they deserve to be here too? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. All I've got for you. Again, I just love how this looks, everyone. I think this looks so great. This is a great looking gang. And the more and more I see of DK's new render, the more I am loving it. So yeah, that's, again, pretty much it. I think the only thing I wanted to circle back to is just to reiterate here, kind of, that as I touched on earlier, it not only did it seem like Diddy had bisected eyes yesterday, a higher quality version of that render confirms it. I know this is gonna upset a lot of people. I actually kind of like this. I will say, I think they could have made it look a little bit better, but I overall like the bisected eye design in general, but I think it looks more natural as opposed to the weird mono eye that a lot of characters have, like Sonic and Kirby as well. I think this looks actually, I think Kirby. No, actually, not Kirby. Ignore that. I was reminded of an old meme, which you don't want to see involving Sonic and Kirby, because it is disturbing. In any case, yeah, I actually quite like this new design, along with the rest of the gang here, which will end looking at them. Yeah, there it is. All right, I'm done here. I'm just rambling at this point. Thanks for watching, everyone. Click the subscribe button if you haven't already, and we will catch you later. Bye, everyone.